Welcome to Pro Tips and Conversation. I'm your host, AC Pilot Zero. Today we're going to be talking about character creation for Dark Souls 2. Just going to show you a couple of neat tricks. So, first of all, let's cover the basics. Don't forget that if you want to go uber buff, you do have that option. Builds, pretty much the same as Souls 1. Just a few options here to change your body shape. Gender, of course. Now, let's talk face. So the Homeland gives you a few sample faces to start with. But this default face, don't fail to consider it, because honestly, the default face, if you want to go for a younger, cuter look, really the default face is where it's at. It's just that if you're gonna roll with default face on dude, you have a bit of a weak chin, so you might want to extend that out a bit. There's a few ways you can do that. There's an easy one right there to give you a bit of a stronger chin. Also, for whatever reason, they give you an enormous schnoz. So most of the time I recommend that you're going to want to reduce that probably close to minimum, as it gives you, I think, a more normal looking face. So for the most part, it's pretty easy options. It's always easier, I think, to make an okay looking dude. You know, I always feel like when you're doing the female character, it needs more work. But hey, that's also true. I feel like it's just higher standards of beauty for women, right? Because, you know, all the magazines and whatnot. So anyway, let's talk about them real quick. Let's go to female. So first thing, you might notice that her head looks kind of small compared to her shoulders, right? Like, it's okay for a dude to have big ass shoulders, but I think on the female it looks a little weird. So first tip I can give you, you're going to want to go with a large head. The reason why the shoulders look big is because they were kind of lazy with rigging armors, and if both of them have the same frame pretty much, which if you look, their shoulders really don't even change, they're like the same. So she's got like buff dude shoulders, and again, they did that just to be lazy with armor to make it fit both without, you know, having to make two different sets. So go with big head to help balance it out, to make her shoulders look a little bit smaller. It's not really that noticeable in game. Yeah, I don't think it's going to bother you later on. Once you start rolling with big head, you will quickly get used to it. So let's do that real quick. Again, Homeland's got a few options, but if you want to have like just like the cutest face that you can possibly get, go with the default. Let's give her some tolerable hair to work with. This one's nice because it kind of frames the face and it'll cover up. If you get wacky with your cheekbones, this hair will help to cover it up. But let's make sure that we can actually see what we're working with here. So, sure, we'll go with this one. Okay. So, again, with the weak chin, you might want to pull that forward a bit to give her a more natural look. Or a more stoic, like heroic look there. The nose, again, it starts off pretty large. Tuck that in. Okay, now, not bad, right? But if you want to go like even more cutesy, you can do feminine here. I know it's going to look terrible for a few moments, but don't worry. So put that on max, make sure the form emphasis is on 0, because for whatever reason that tends to make it look better. Now, if you don't like the big fluffy face like that, you can come over here to facial roundness, and that'll let you tuck that in while maintaining the maximum femininity cuteness, right? Not bad. Now she's kind of looking like the Tangled princess, you know, the Disney Rapunzel? Yeah, that's it. Anyway, yeah, not bad. But her eyes also look a little far apart, so if you don't want her to look like that, like anime mo type shit, just tuck that in a bit there. That looks more natural. Okay. Bigger eyes often are seen as being cute, so if you want to tweak that. Eye angle is another fun thing you can play with. Let's see, what's this one? If you want her to have more of an exotic look, you can bring it to inner, but it will tweak your spacing, and you'll need to go back and fix that out. Yeah, see, now she looks just a little more exotic looking, I think. Sometimes also if you do that, you're going to have to like lower the eyes a little bit. Just keep doing it to taste. Keep using, you know, like if you want to use a reference or something. Somehow she looks a lot more like confident British swashbuckler somehow comes to mind looking at that face. like a lady captain, you know, of a pirate ship or something. So another here in shape 1, there's a lot of options here that you can play with to help reshape the face. And a lot of times, see, look at that. A lot of times that's the thing that you're going to want to play with to improve the look of the face. I think that's an improvement there. Yeah. So do that. For the mouth, you can give her a huge grin if you wanted to. Or if you feel like her mouth is too big, usually one of the first things that you can do is kick this over towards glum, and it'll kind of tuck her mouth in a bit. Another option, under mouth 1, lip shape. Pucker will tuck it in. See, now she looks more serious. And then open will make it more of a smile. There's lipstick, of course. There's tons and tons of options, but I'm showing you how to do quick stuff here. And Souls 2 seems to have more like open face helms. So if you actually want to see what your character looks like, you know, it's more likely that you're going to see it in Souls 2 than Souls 1. So do take the time to work on your character there. Tattoo, though, this is really what sets Souls 2 apart from the first one, is that you can just do so much with this tattoo. Like, okay, so don't forget opacity. Most people forget opacity is the most important thing. And also, a lot of them don't seem to know about this extended tattoo menu because they get their tattoo from the face section, and this does like just color and, you know, so they end up just like with this weird cheek tattoo. But if you come on over here, you can do a lot more with it, as I will show you right meow. So let's say you want to do, so you can cover your whole face like that. So if you wanted to do like a geisha, or like some kind of like a clown, you know, you want to make like a Harlequin looking thing, like a ninja, you know, camo face paint, something like that. Don't forget about your eyebrows though. So if you wanted to do like the camo paint or something, you can either take your eyebrows off, which is really not that noticeable, so don't feel bad if you do that if you're doing like full black or something. Or you can just make them black to kind of look like, you know, she smeared the paint inside there. So one of the things that people will like to do though with this, with the large circle tattoo, they will choose something that kind of looks like a skin color. Sure, let's use that. And then they will change their body skin color to, so yeah, that looks reddish enough. Okay, so it's kind of like you're wearing like a full like spandex suit, and then just her face is peeking out. A lot of people do like a Filthy Frank character. He's the guy who wears, what is it, the pink bodysuit with his face out. There's a lot of recreations of that you'll see around. People think it's funny. So that's one thing you can do. But let's say that you wanted to make like full, like let's say you want black skin, right? So first you're going to set this to full dark. Then you're going to go color emphasis, right? And set that to strong. So if you want to have like full ninja sneaking suit, so you would go black, right? And then again, you can have your face still looking like it's peeking out using this tattoo, although it does take out a lot of detail. But like you could probably, oh here, kick down the opacity, yeah, and then you can actually see more of her like actual complexion poking through, right? So that's one option you can do. However, I'm going to show you this now without the tattoo on. You can see that her face is entirely discolored because for whatever reason. But if you use this tattoo, you can indeed get full uber black if you want to have, you know, if you're doing some kind of a weird monster thing, or you just don't one of the useful things about pure black skin is you can make it look like you always have armor on. So if your armor has like gaps in it or something and you want to try and give it a more fashionable look where like she's fully covered, then you can use the black. But I will warn you that if you go with the muscle physique, that muscle definition is very visible. So if you want to have like the more smoothness of it look like she's wearing cloth or something, then don't use the big muscle, because you know, you can obviously see this looks more like skin, whereas this could pass for maybe cloth. Right, I think that is pretty much all the tips I can give you there. So if you screw up and like let's say you cannot get the default face back, right, if you move off of this, and again I recommend the default face if you want something that's easy to make into it like a quick cute face, right? But if you pick one of these, you can't go back. It's just there's no way to get the default face unless you can actually close your game in the middle of this character creation. Let's say also like maybe you having second thoughts about the name you picked. They really shouldn't have you pick your name first, because maybe your concept changes if you find something cool to look at in here. For whatever reason, if you screw up too bad though, you can just close the game, you know, using your home button or Alt F4 if you're on a computer, whatever. Of course, when you relaunch the game, it'll say, you know, you didn't close it properly, you can lose save data, blah blah blah. Most of the time, you don't lose save data. If you're really worried about that, you can always back up your save beforehand. But if you do close out and then reload in, you'll find that your character is standing in front of the door to the Firekeeper's hut, and you can redo character creation all the way from the start that way. So if you somehow screw up, you can always close the game and get that option to do it over again. And then the last thing I'll just say is consider healing wares for starting gift, unless you have some kind of a plan involving petrified something or bonfire ascetic. That's if you know of a certain item that you want that requires these. Also, if you do petrified something and you're trying to get a certain weapon, just back up your save. I hadn't really thought of that. Of course, I played a lot on PC, and so I just had to make the character over and over to keep trying. And if you're customizing your character to do that, like, wow, that's a lot of time that you end up losing if you don't get the item that you want. But if you spend a lot of time customizing and you're trying to go for petrified something, back up your save file. If you don't get what you want, reload it, drop the item again, so on, so on. But for general purposes, highly recommend healing wares. Alright, thanks for watching the video. Hope you learned some quick pro tips here on how to make your character more, you know, better looking, more interesting to look at, whatever. Don't be afraid to play with these tattoos. There's tons of stuff that you can do. A lot of these, if you turn them upside down or twist them at odd angles so they're unrecognizable, you can use them to look like you've got like a bloody nose or a bloody mouth. If you want to do like a vampire looking thing, have blood dripping down her chin, you can do like you know, blood red lipstick and then do the tattoo in a similar, you know, blood red fashion and just twist it. The horse is very useful because if you flip it sideways or upside down, it's pretty hard to recognize, and you can make it look like blood flowing down the chin. Right, so there you go. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget that you can follow on Twitch and you can like, subscribe on YouTube. Every little bit helps. I appreciate it. And don't go hollow.